Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Athlete to Athlete. I am your host, Mackenzie Sullivan, and it is just me here today. Want to do a one-on-one chat with you guys. First of all, I'm sorry, I'm already off my schedule. I just started getting back into the full swing of things of classes and practice, and now I'm off my game. I'm sorry. I'm better than this. I was supposed to upload last Friday, and I just didn't. But here I am, week later. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna try and be more consistent from here on out. Do not hold that against me, though. We're gonna see how this goes. I'm gonna try and multitask everything. So, this episode is probably not going to be that long, honestly, because I am watching this on Tuesday and I'm trying to watch the debate later, and it's already 8:30. But nonetheless, today this episode is going to be about me getting cleared to finally run again. I posted on my YouTube this past Monday that I am finally cleared to run. And, that was kind of like a surface level video, just me taking you guys with me on my run, and also just updating you guys a little bit, for those subscribers that I have that don't really follow the podcast yet, or haven't been paying attention to any other videos that I uploaded that aren't track related, because I'm aware that that is a big part of my brand, and those are the videos that people really want to see. So, yeah, that was kind of just like a letting everyone know where I'm at. I did say on that video that I'm not fully going to talk about the specifics of my situation and everything that went into me not being medically cleared. At a later date, I will definitely be telling the full story about that, because it is something that I want to talk about. Just right now, as I'm trying to get back into the swing of things and I'm, trying to heal, we're not going to make that the topic of conversation. But I would still like to talk about kind of the mental toll these past 4 months of not being able to run and participate in my sport have had on me. And now being about a week, literally a week actually, into training again and how that's going. And wow, it has been a roller coaster, let me tell you. So if you guys have been subscribed to my YouTube for a while, then you saw this past spring when I posted the YouTube video titled "I'm Sorry," I think, and that just got into me saying my season is being cut short and I can't run right now. That was one of the worst days of my life, getting that news. If you have really been following me for a long time, know that when I came into college as a freshman, I also had to sit out for medical reasons for the first couple months of college, and that sucked. And so getting that news, it was just so hard to hear, and I really felt like I was back in that position as freshman Mackenzie, just starting college and having everything kind of ripped away. And I mean, if anything, it felt like that, but 10 times worse, because I really was expecting my junior year to be my year. People always say, like, oh, junior year, you've been in the swing of things for a minute, that's when good things happen. And I watched that happen to my teammates, and I was just waiting for that to be me, and it wasn't. It was the complete opposite, and that sucked. And I started off my season on a really good note, and at the beginning of indoor season, I did great in my 800 opener. I was ACC Athlete of the Week. I was like, this is going to be a great year. And then slowly, that just didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. And then come 400 hurdle season, outdoor, my fave, I just, ended up not performing the way I wanted. And then eventually was told I had to sit out entirely, which just absolutely sucked. People that aren't athletes, as well as people that have never really had a significant injury that has resulted in them having to sit out of activity, they don't really know the emotional toll that takes on you. There is so much time, commitment, sweat, blood, tears, all of it that goes into your sport when you're a student athlete. And to go from 100 to 0 is such a dramatic change. And it's really hard to grapple with that. Just, you know, from being at a point where you really thought you were about to do something great to, for some people with injuries, having to learn how to walk again, you know, going from hurdling to having to learn how to walk. I talked with Raymond on one of my recent episodes who went through an ACL tear. And I mean, getting back from that, it's just, it's really mentally challenging, but like, that's like not even enough to describe how insane of a feeling it is to have that stripped away from you. I don't know. And I'm sorry. I'm like saying a lot, but like also not saying a lot. But that's honestly just like how it feels. You feel really lost when such a large part of your identity is taken a little away for a bit. And, you know, that's how I felt this summer. I felt really lost. I felt really scared, and just unsure about what the future looked like for me, unsure of what recovery would be like and getting back into shape, and if I had time to do different things, and, you know, putting a timeline on things, thinking that everything has to be rushed and whatever. No matter the reason for having to sit out as an athlete, it all sucks. And it's very disheartening, you know, for me having to stop mid-season and then have all my teammates go to ACC championships, and I ended up going to cheer them on. But even then, and just to see my teammates compete and do well, and, you know, there's some envy there. Of course, I was so happy to be there and cheer them on. I will do that any day of the week. I love my teammates. But obviously there's a feeling of, I should be down there on that track. And there's a feeling of failure, of just sadness, jealousy, all of it. Because they're doing what you can't. And that just, it all is really painful. For me, I'm the kind of athlete that just doesn't know when to take a break, for real. I love my sport. I love what I do. At the end of like my collegiate season, I'll give myself like a week, and then I get back into hard training. I really don't take as much time off as I probably should. But with that, I take a week off, and I'm never really out of shape. I don't experience like really having to get back into conditioning and all these things. I've never left being conditioned. That's kind of how I have been historically. So coming off of season, I take a little break, and then I get back into summer training, and I am training. And then by the time I come back to school in the fall for conditioning, I'm fit, and I'm just, you know, building off of that further. It's no question of me being able to complete workouts and complete them well. So for my situation now, it's very night and day. You know, I had to sit out for 4 months. 4 months. That is the longest break I have ever taken from my sport. From physical activity in general. Like, that's just such a big part of me. And I had to sit out for 4 months. And I know there's people that sit out for a year because of surgeries and things like that. And I mean, that's just horrible. But for me, 4 months, I mean, it was a lifetime. It was so difficult for me to not be able to do what I love and something that I know I'm good at and believe is such a core part of who I am. So now for me to finally have that 4 months and some change end, and I get back into running, I'm just thrilled to be able to run. Like, that first run back that I vlogged about, I was just like, oh my goodness, thank you, God. Like, I am running. I am working out. Like, it's so refreshing. It feels so me. It feels just, it feels like a blessing. You know, you take things for granted sometimes. You know, when you get so caught up as an athlete in the stressors and the competition and comparison and times, place, all these things. But then if that gets taken away from you, all you want is to just be on the track or field, court, pool, anything. You just want to get back. And that's the feeling that I felt on my first run back. It was just gratitude for being able to run. And I want to have myself keep that memory in my head through the remainder of my senior season, because I am one of the most anxious people you will ever meet. I stress about everything. I put so much pressure on myself, and that translates into competition for me often. So I really just want to remember this year, it is a blessing for me to be able to do what I love. Don't put extra pressure on yourself. Don't stress yourself out, and like, what's the point? You love doing this, and now you're finally able to do it again. Just enjoy it, because once you're injured or have to sit out, whatever it is, it really clicks with you how much just being able to do what you do is a blessing. Like, just so much of being an athlete is taken for granted until it's taken away. And, you know, I've had that realization, and I had that back in my freshman year, and a good amount of time has gone by, and I've gotten increasingly more anxious. And then here I am again, having to sit out, and it's like, dang, I don't like this. I took for granted this past year. I got so hyper fixated on hitting a certain time and running, you know, a certain place and all these things, and comparing myself to this other athlete and this other athlete. When, you know what, you are a collegiate athlete who gets to run or play, swim, whatever it is, at the collegiate level. That is amazing. You are amazing. You know, so really, like, enjoy those moments. Also, my coach says this all the time. 4 years fly by. They are so fast. I'm a senior? Like, that's insanity. I really cannot wrap my head around that. I am literally a senior in college. This is going to be my 4th season as a college athlete. And, you know, I've had some successes and a lot of fun and different things. I also have a lot of regrets and just, you know, opportunities that weren't taken advantage of. And that's just, I will kick myself about those things, because what's the point in ruining an opportunity because you're stressing about the outcome? Like, oh my gosh, and this is so much easier to talk about than to actually, like, do it and put it into practice. But I really want to stress it so that hopefully it will click in my head for this upcoming year. Like, chill out, do what you love, enjoy the moment, and the results will come from that. you're not going to get good results if you're anxious and, just comparing yourself to everyone. What's that going to do? Nothing. So that's really kind of what I want to think about, going into this year. But I mean, for me, like this past summer, at the beginning of the summer, I really wanted to put a focus on enjoying the different parts of what make me me. And that is something that my club coach from back home, Coach Mike, really was emphasizing for me. I was just devastated to have to sit out. And he was like, you know what? This sucks. There's no question. But it is summer now. We are getting into summer. You have time off. You never take time off. Use that. Have fun with your friends. Do different hobbies. Expand, in your content creation. And he knows that I do YouTube and things like that. It was really important for me to put my energy into these other spaces that make me happy. Because that really is something about being injured or just having to sit out of training, practice, whatever, is that it forces you to acknowledge the different parts of what make you you that aren't the athlete part. Because we really do get so caught up when we are like in season and training, an athlete, I am an athlete. Then something happens. You're not an athlete for a period of time. Now what? That's why people get so sad and lost, because you're so attached to this core part of who you are. And now you don't know what to do. And so that's why it's important to make hobbies, develop new interests, explore things, learn different things, so that you feel more whole as a person. And then also, if something like this happens, God forbid, to you, you have things to fall back on so that you're not wildly depressed. I'm not going to say you still won't be sad. You will. If you really care about your sport, you will. But you won't be as lost, and you'll still be able to find joy in different things. For me, I'm someone with a lot of hobbies. There's some good parts of that. There's also some bad parts. I spread myself pretty thin. But in this scenario, I had to sit out. That sucked. But it allowed me to put more time into those other spaces of my life that I really care about, but don't get to devote a lot of time to because of how much time I put into being an athlete. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise in that sense, that I got to have more family time, more time with friends, more time to develop this podcast and build my YouTube channel, go on different trips, things like that. Still feel balanced and whole even while I wasn't able to train. So, I did that, which was really good. But that does not take away from the fact that it was still the hardest 4 months of my life. I was probably just the lowest I've ever felt. It was frustrating for me to have to sit out for the second time in my college career. A really heavy sense of failure, even when things are out of your control sometimes. Just to feel like you're not living up to your own expectations time and time again. And then not even being able to do what you love at all. It takes a pretty heavy toll on you. And there's just no question that was really hard for me. And if you know me personally, you know that I love track. And I love what I do. You can't be a 400 hurdler and 800 runner without being a little crazy and enjoying training. And I just love the process, and I really have a lot of respect for it. It's just such a big part of me, and I think who I am as an athlete tells you a lot about who I am as a person. I am so hardworking at practice. So it's just, sometimes you'll kind of have a feeling of like, why me? Like, I give everything to this, and it's not working out, or I have to sit out again. Like, it can be so defeating, just having that feeling over and over. So, yeah, I mean, that was just a really hard time. And I just want anyone that is watching that has dealt with this or is currently dealing with something like this, for having to sit out for any reason, I just want you to know that I see you, and so many athletes see you. And it's okay to be really, really sad. It's okay. You know, people can try and cheer you up as much as you can, and you can do as many hobbies as you can and pick up as many different interests as you can, but you're still going to be sad, and that's okay. That's because as much as we want student athletes to recognize that they are more than just an athlete, so much of our time in our lives is committed to being an athlete. So while you can say that, it doesn't always feel genuine or real, because if I'm so much more than just an athlete, why do I feel like I'm solely living to be an athlete 24/7? I mean, that can just be hard to kind of separate that sometimes. But even though I literally just said that can be hard to really digest, you are more than an athlete. You are more than a student athlete. There's so much more to you. And really try your best to take advantage of those times when you have to sit out from your sport to indulge in other things that make you happy. Because time is so limited as a student athlete. So when this thing that takes up, 75% of your time is having to put off to the side, that's now 75% of your time that you're going to put towards what? It could be 75% of your time just spent crying. It could. But how about we make that 20%? And then the rest of the time, we hang out with our friends. We hang out with our family. We pick up a new hobby. We connect to our mind and body through mindfulness. We just, reset. Use it as a reset period, which I think I did. But also, has been just a giant journey, roller coaster in its own. I had days where I was like, everything's gonna work out, I'm gonna be just fine. And then I also have days where I'm like, this is horrible. I need to get out while I can. And like that, you're gonna have feelings at both ends of the spectrum, and that's okay. It's okay. I mean, if you think you're going through a crisis, scroll on my Instagram and look at how many times I changed my hair this summer. First I got bangs. Bangs? I've never had bangs since I was literally in elementary school. And then, bam, I pop up one day, I have pink hair. Anyways, obviously, sis was going through something. But, I don't really know why I said that. But that's just to show you that it was a hard summer for me. And I needed to do something to myself to feel something. And I chose to do that through my hair. And, we're coming out of that hole. And I'm starting to feel okay again. Something that I do want to say is going from not cleared to yay, I'm cleared. And, when that first happens, those feelings aren't going to like switch off right away, which I was expecting for some reason. I really thought I'm going to hear, you're cleared to run. And I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, return to my old self, super happy, not depressed, all these things. And then that didn't happen. And I was still, grappling with a lot of these feelings. That's okay. That was a lot that I went through and a lot that I'm still currently going through. And, being cleared, you're good to go, but you know that you're not at your 100% yet. And for me, that's kind of been really hard for me this past week. I'm so excited to get back into training and running and being with my teammates. But I am not where I left off athletically. And which is like, it's okay. It's conditioning. I don't start my season for real until January. It's okay. I have time. But I told you guys that I'm the kind of person that doesn't let myself get out of shape, and I come into conditioning and I feel great. So this year, for literally the first day of conditioning to be the day that I finally got cleared, I felt very unprepared. I felt really embarrassed for, being really far behind in the group, getting out of breath in the warm-up, all these things. It's just really discouraging. But, my teammates and my coaches and everyone knows that I just got cleared that day and I hadn't run in 4 months. They all know. And so, obviously it's expected that I'm not going to be doing well right now. But in my mind, that's just so hard for me because I know the kind of athlete that I am. And I just don't like to ever be not at that level that I know I am at. My coaches were telling me, hey, you're not going to be at 100%, so don't freak out when you're not, running crazy fast day one. Which I haven't been freaking out. I'm not worried. I know that getting in shape takes a little bit of time, and I'm going to get there, and it's going to be okay. But that doesn't mean that while I'm working out and I'm feeling really out of shape and out of breath and my legs are so heavy and my teammates look like they're miles away and I'm on the second rep, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to feel a little discouraged in that moment, and that's okay. But for me, I think it's less of me comparing myself to my teammates because it's I just got cleared, it's whatever. It's more of I am just thinking, last year I was able to do this. Last year this time I was doing this. So I just feel really behind of myself and where I was. And so it's hard to be I want to get so much further than where I got last year. But how am I going to do that when this time last year I was doing so much better? I just know that I have so much to catch up on, which can be so just hard, But I am, doing what I have to do, and I'm proud of myself. And this has been a lot more mental than anything else. If you are someone that has been through pit track and field, then we are notorious for some of the hardest conditioning program in the NCAA. That's just what I've heard, honestly, from other athletes based off what I post on YouTube and TikTok. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, yeah. So our conditioning is just really hard in general. And even when I'm in shape, it's yikes, this is tough. So for right now, for me to be coming off a 4-month break, the longest I've ever gone not doing anything, it's wow. I mean, it's humbling. It's definitely humbling. But it's just, it's hard because I feel so not me when, we're doing a 2-mile run and we're 800 meters in, and I just feel so heavy and tired and just like I want to walk. And I have walked a couple times, and that's okay. Because each day I'm walking less and less. But it's just so like, ugh, that's not me. I should be up there. I should be leading this group. I should be doing this. I should be running this time, whatever. But you're not gonna, girl, because you just were sitting out doing nothing for 4 months. Like, think about that. That's okay. So, that's something I've gotta give myself grace about. Have that written on my wrist. Just, I'm literally only a weekend. Give myself some more time. Gradually get stronger, faster, add more of the workout in each time, because right now I'm only doing half of the workout. So, just add more in, and slowly I'm gonna get more comfortable, and I've got a lot of time until my season starts. So it's like, girl, chill. It's still, I'm not necessarily gonna be like, everything's okay when I am doing a hill workout and I feel like I'm crawling. Like, just crawling. I'm like, I might as well sit down. Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's just like so like embarrassing. Like, this is not the kind of athlete I am. But like, I know that. And my teammates know that. And my coaches know that. So they're like, yeah, girl, you need to give yourself some time. And that's cool. Gosh. Anyways, I'm trying to get this debate turned on. But I wanted to talk about this just so that you guys kind of knew where my head has been at this whole summer, because I put out like a lot of content and everything's like cool and fun. But I mean, it's been really hard past few months for me, and I've been really struggling. And that kind of goes to show that, you never know what someone's going through. But also, I hope that provided some comfort and, just the feeling of being seen to anybody else that's struggling with having to sit out of their sport and just feeling really lost and sad and all these things, knowing that you're not alone and that's okay to feel that way. And I have and do feel that way. We're going to get back to where we were, and that's cool. So thank you guys for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed. Please check into my YouTube videos, as they're going to be coming up more regularly. Some vlogs now that I'm back running. Follow Athlete to Athlete podcast on Instagram. Also at Mackenzie Sullivan on Instagram. I hope you guys have an amazing day and practice if you've got practice today. And I will see you guys, or I'll talk to you in my next episode. Bye.